out the secret sauce to sharing low internet. So now we're just gonna actually take this time to actually just talk stuff. Right? Talk about credit. Right. So look, so as you guys can see, right, I have a credit score here, 810. I'm pulling it up on my phone. I'm trying to like spare me thy bandwidth. So I'm just like, and plus like the through the phone is a little bit more convenient because then I could just like fingerprint instead of typing passwords because you hackers, you know. Not that I can't, try to fight you off, but it's always a losing battle with global hackers. Eventually you always get got. So you just need to do what you can to just protect yourself. So doing it this way is probably just better for me. But let's talk, right? Credit, right? So that is my credit score. I have 810. I had it. When did I hit 800? I want to say I was around the age of somewhere between it's like somewhere around like 25, 26. I want to say is when I had hit the 800 club. As a matter of fact, I don't even think I even have it on here because then I would give you guys a much more precise time. I think I posted it on my Instagram when I got back to it, right? Because these things with credit scores, right? Credit scores fluctuate depending on how you use them. So some of the biggest things here, right? Because like the courtesy of Capital One, you see that the biggest one of the biggest ones off the bat, right, is on-time payments. All right. So as far as like what you need to do to get yourself up to the 800 range, right? Off the bat, right? The number one thing you do not ever do under any circumstances is miss a payment. Don't ever miss a payment on a credit card. Never. No matter what. It doesn't matter what what's going on in your life. Like if you that strapped on cash, you better make sacrifices. Do not ever miss a payment. When you miss a payment, that haunts you for years, for absolute years. Never in my entire life, and I started dabbling in credit the moment I turned 18 and was of age to be able to get it myself. I'm trying to change the camera back so I can make some color changes because I don't know why this one's all. I don't like how this one looks. So some color correction here. So as far as now, what things you can do to try and make sure that you do not. To make sure that you do not miss a payment. Live color adjustments, right? Using color correction and the color correction filter, no yes. But pay attention to what your minimum payments are. So I've been in situations where I needed money. I really, really needed money, more money than I had, and more money than what I could pay back in a short amount of time. And I would define a short amount of time as anything no more than 4 months. If it's going to take you more than 4 months, right, then that's not a short. That wouldn't be a short amount of time, right? Because you gotta think that's 1/3 of an entire year, right? So if you're carrying credit debt and if you was to dedicate a massive amount of your monthly income to trying to pay it off, and it would still take you more than 4 months to actually pay it off, then that's beyond the short amount of time frame, short time frame. in a balance where I would say what, like 80% of your income, like 70. Let's say 70, 80%. So like if 70 to 80% of your income is gonna take, damn, I gotta do webcam too. That looks terrible. It doesn't even have a thing, so I'm gonna have to first mess with the filter. I don't know why like our strip is like messed with. See, man, ever since I updated to actually, let me just go ahead and finish the story too. Now that I'm like creating distractions here. I said like I've been in situations where I had to basically like max out that credit card, and and like me, like I have high credit limits, but at the time I didn't make too much. I didn't make so much that I would be able to pay off all of my max credit cards within 4 months if I dedicated a significant portion of my income. That was um, that was the hardest thing for me. It was just that fact. So what did I do? Right. So some things you can immediately. Some things you just immediately do is that you need to pay attention to, like, if you got a bunch of credit cards you're trying to pay off, you need to pay attention to that minimum payment. What's the minimum payment for each? Because it's usually not much. Even if you carry in like a high limit or pizza now, so I'm gonna eat a little bit before I actually start playing game. But like I said, if anybody wanna actually send a message to ask a question, you're more than welcome to. Because I was just gonna be rambling about this credit stuff. Oh yeah, I was definitely trying to sign in before I got interrupted here. So let me yeah. Big capital one name. But yeah, no, you know what I'm saying. But yeah, this is oh man, I wish I could show y'all what this looks like here. I don't feel like messing with that webcam right now. But oh man, does this look good? Do I need to like select the no? Yes. Alright, cool. There we go. Now we alright. Now that is done. Yeah, so I had maxed out credit cards, right? And I was making, and I was the amount of money I was making and the amount of the balance I had maxed out. I was dedicating about 70 to 80% of my income. Managed my expenses so much, so granular, that I was able to dedicate like around 70 to 80% of my overall income to paying off credit debt. And even at that pace, it took me a year and a half, 2 years, before I could actually pay off my credit debt. Yeah, this is good. But the thing is, at no point did I miss a payment, even dedicating that much money, and I made sure to manage myself in a way that if I had, as I was dedicating that much to my credit card, because here's the thing, right? It's gonna sound weird, but to be on the safest side possible, you want to try and have, and I had very little savings. I had like maybe $1,000, if that, in my savings account at the time. So, but even then, right, I would keep $1,000 in my savings account, and then I would pay off a particular credit card. You know, you want to do the one with the highest interest rate first. And if I needed to buy anything, I would use the credit card. I would never use cash. And what you're doing when you're doing that is, it's a safety net. It's an actual safety net. It sounds crazy because you're trying to pay off the credit card, but hear me out, right? If you ever need cash for anything, you cannot really use your credit card. In fact, most places that, you know, when you pay something cash, a deposit, anything, get a money order, right? It will not allow you to use the credit card, right? You can go to the credit card, you know, ATM and draw out cash from a credit card, but then it has a different rate of interest that's applied, and it's like the system knows that particular amount is cash, and so it's going to charge you interest at a different rate than like all your regular purchases. So that's why you never want to do that. But by buying everything with your credit card, even as you're trying to pay off your credit debt, you're holding on to as much cash as you have. So in case you hit a snag of something that absolutely needs cash and you can't use a credit card for, right, then you have the cash to be able to use it. So I'm sorry, guys. Just really hungry. I haven't eaten in a bit now. And this pizza's so good. But and the thing is, so you target your card with the highest rate of interest first. And then you make sure you're dedicating a bulk of like your payments to that, and you pay the minimums for everything else. Absolute minimums, only minimums for everything else. And then you go from there, right? And then you'll do the, like, common thing is the snowball method, where like, because after you pay off that credit card, then you can then start to pay off another credit card with that same amount of money, plus whatever you was paying on that credit card. So like, if I was paying $2,000 on a particular credit card, once I pay that off, then the other cards that one other card that I was paying like $35, whatever the minimum was, then they set the automatic monthly payments. I'm still here. Set the automatic monthly payments. The minimums across all your accounts, and then pick one that you're going to pay, you know, a significant portion of your income towards when you're working on paying something, right? I'm doing that. Really, like, people making me work, man. I'm over here sweating. Crazy. But that way, in case anything happens or you forget or something crazy's going on, right? System, hopefully the system, right? System's taking care of you, and you got the automatic payments, the minimum, so it's not pulling out any crazy amount out of your account unless you're really that super strapped for cash. And so then you're able to like do what you gotta do and not worry about missing a payment. Now, how I was able to do that, right? Because 70 to 80% of your income to dedicate just strictly on paying credit debt, that's a hell of a lot. That is a whole lot of money. So, I want you to look at stuff like this. When it comes to your monthly expenses, specifically the ones that are fixed, so rent, car payments, if you have any, electric bill, water bill, things like that. Any of those that you can pay on credit cards, pay those on credit cards. Preferably the one that has the lowest rate of interest, that hopefully has a large enough balance that can cover cover all those getting drawn from that account over time while you are paying off other credit cards. Right? That's the first one. Because like I said, anything you can do to hold on to your actual cash, you need to do. So, the second thing, and this is probably the most important thing, this is the technique I really recommend to people the most, because I do it, I live true to this every single time. For your fixed monthly expenses, if you have an option to, and you are able to pay more for that month, you need to do it. I'm gonna give you a perfect example. My T-Mobile bill. Let's say my T-Mobile bill is, let's say, $50 a month. Okay. So, excuse me. Oh man, I am a beast. Forgot to clip my mic back on. Come in, Anakin. But let's say my T-Mobile bill is $50 a month, right? I'm telling you, it doesn't matter how tight your expenses are. You should be able to do this. And if I'm telling you, this you need to do. My T-Mobile bill is $50 a month, and instead of me paying $50, I'll pay $60 or $70, right? Or if I want to do more, if I want to pay double that and do $100, I'll do that. Like, I will legit actually do that. What am I doing when I'm doing it? You're creating a buffer. So this is especially helpful like when tax season comes. When y'all get your little your tax refunds for all this excess money, you should probably actually do this with those bills. And here's the thing, right? When I sit there and I pay more, so let's say for the T-Mobile bill, I paid $100, even though my monthly bill is only $50. following month, you know what I do? At a minimum, I still pay $50 the following month. And the actual technique is I would actually continue to pay more. So if I was paying $100, I'll pay $100 again the following month. And then I'll do it the month after, even though my monthly bill is only $50. What I'm doing effectively, right? And it becomes more apparent, like if you can only afford a little bit more than a monthly. So if I was doing $70 instead of $50, you're creating a buffer where if something catastrophic happens in your life and you need the cash to the point where some of your monthly expenses you cannot make, right, at their full price, you either have a reduced amount that you actually are going to have to worry about paying that month, or not a single payment at all, right? So in the example of like the T-Mobile bill, right? Let's say if I was doing $60 a month, right? So $10 more than my 50, right? That means that in 5 months of doing that, right, I would have accumulated at least a month. I would have accumulated a month extra of excess money in that account while I was still paying it, right? And I would still keep going. So then if something happens and like I'm strapped and I need those $50 and I'm not going to be able to pay my phone bill that month, it's already paid. You slide it in a little bit of money at a time that grew to a point where you don't have to worry about it. And that is leaps and bounds. So the security you get from that is so strong, especially when you do that with something like a car payment. Think about like your car, right? You know, if you make monthly payments on your car, if you pay more, so if I pay $200, when I used to pay on my car, right, I paid $200 a month. I was paying about $230 to $250, right? If it came down to it, and it's like, bro, I can't make my car payment, and then I have to risk repossession and all these other like credit things that could go wrong. With that technique, if I ever hit that point where like I need the money and I can't pay, I was already building that safety net towards it, right? And the goal is that you do it small enough to where, because if you're struggling with money, you do it small enough to where like you don't really notice too much. So like if it's $200 and you're just doing an extra $20 or maybe extra $15, right? You'd be like, you know what I'm saying? So, and then like when it comes down to when you need it, you actually go and you look and you see, it's like, oh shoot, bro, like I was doing good for about a year paying it like this, and then like now like life happens, shit, my car is paid off for at least like, let's say 2 months, right? $15 a month, I don't know, or a month, right? Let's say a month, right? So I can focus on trying to get whatever squared away and not worry about, and at least extend the clock without any repercussions or anything bad happening to me from not making 1 month payment on my car, right? And so the thing is, if you're able to do that for a long stretch period, 1 year, a year, 2 years, right? When you're paying that extra a month, like you are setting yourself up for success. You're setting yourself up for security, and I'm telling you, there's no better feeling than that, because like I said, if anything happens, because that's one of the things that really mess people up, right? Like I think it's like healthcare bankruptcy, right? Or like you get like, you know, the car gets totaled, right? And you need those $250 to fix it, right? But you ain't gonna be able to make that month's payment, right? And that happens a year or two of you paying a little extra, you're good. You ain't gotta worry about it, right? And that's why I always tell people, make sure whatever your monthly fixed bills are, and that includes rent. I do the same. I do it with everything: rent, electric, water bills, you know, I think it's called not credit cards, because credit cards is always fixed, regardless of how much you put in. Car payments, phones, like anything that lets me basically stash a little extra money, right? At one point I had like over $1,000 in excess in my phone account. Now my actual real monthly bill is like around $100. So we're talking about at least a year. We're talking about a whole year because I've been doing it for so long. At that time, I don't have that much in there anymore, but we're talking about a whole year. Just think, you build it up to where you have a whole year of money in there, where you don't have to worry about paying a phone bill for an entire year, unless of course you rack up charges for something crazy like roaming, Verizon, and AT&T, T-Mobile, baby. But a whole year. The highest I had when I was making car payments, 4 months. Just think. That's 4 months of car payments I don't have to make, so I can take that $250 that month, $250 that month, $250 that month. That's already almost approaching $1,000. Like if I needed the cash for something, and I'm just in that broke, and I still have a car, because I promise you, 3 months into not making your car payment, you already know what's up. Credit gonna get messed up. Repossessions gonna happen. And that's why the trickling effect of paying a little bit more than your fixed monthly cost each month is so important, especially when you don't have the money for it. Peeps, $5 more than what you're normally paying will add up later on. I promise you. You just need to do it, because at the very least, even if you don't get to having a full month of coverage, at least at that point you have we'll put this back on now. At least at that point you have a discount, right? So instead of $50, let's say I only have to pay $10 that month. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the power of it, right? Instead of paying $200 on my car note that month, I just have to pay, I just have to pay $80, $100, right? Like anything will help. Try to put this bad boy back on. Anything would help, and that's what you need to do. You should be looking for those opportunities to put that excess money for safety. Because it's money you can't use, right? As far as for something else stupid. There's money in your savings account. You can get tempted and be like, I can buy this, or I've been doing good, let me treat myself, or something crazy. Right? So it's already committed. So you don't have to worry about reneging or going back on what that money should have been put towards. Secure your life for at least a certain amount of time, especially like if you build it out the way that is. And so that is my overall spill on on-time payments, because see, when you got your fixed bills and excessively paid like that, it makes it easier for you to make sure that your credit card payments are able to be made on time each month, especially if something goes wrong. And I think they say on-time payments is 30% of your overall score. So I have an 8-10. I never missed a single payment, never in my life. Good times and bad. This next one, oldest credit line. That one's pretty self-explanatory. What's the age of your credit cards? Now here's the thing. Some models will look at whatever individual account is the oldest, and some models will take the average age of all of them. Now, this is going to be what I'm about to recommend you do. you should, at the bare minimum, pick a specific day out the entire year that you apply for a credit card. But that is the only day you apply for a credit card. So that you know every day on that year, from that year forward, from that point forward, you know the age of your credit cards go up 1 year, right? The older the credit line, the better. So what you're doing is like, and this works actually pretty well too for like the inquiry section, which we'll get to a little bit later. It won't be in this particular stream because I'm only gonna talk about this and touch on credit used a bit, and then I'm gonna quit so I can finish eating and then stream like how I wanted to. But putting it to where you apply for a credit card only one specific day out the year helps you have that level of control, and then it makes it very predictable, right? As far as that section, you don't have to guess because you know, okay, I know at this point, right, it goes up a year. Now, when you have multiple credit cards, now the trick to this is you need to do what you do, however it is you want to do it, as far as like if you think you're only going to need one credit card or you think you should have 5. I'm not going to tell you how many you should have. What I'm going to sit there and tell you is that the number one rule about credit is that you can't build what you don't have to use. And while it is very possible, I'm sure it's possible to build up a good credit score with just one line of credit, I can tell you from experience, obviously from my experience, you see right here, and what I've seen other people who also have, like, who are also in the 800 club, they don't have just one line of credit, right? Usually, like, and that doesn't necessarily mean that they carry multiple credit cards too, because it could be things like a mortgage, right? Because that's a type of loan, that's a type of like credit, right? Your car payments is a type of credit. Any personal loans they might have, so other things, not actual credit cards, but at the very least, they had more than one form of credit. My very first credit line wasn't even a credit card. It was an online. It functioned the same way. It was PayPal credit. I had they were the very first ones I actually had applied for because they had just came out. Right, I had just turned 18, and I like that when you spend $100 or more with PayPal credit, you get 6 months to pay without any interest, and that'll be like the cool tips that I give in a different video. But the end of the day, the summary of that is that you're more than likely, if you want to have a really good score, you're gonna need more than one line of credit. And so what I suggest people do, right, don't sit there and try to apply for a bunch of things within the same year. You're gonna screw yourself up a lot like that. And then like the algorithms in the back, and you know, all of them different, so this isn't like exactly how it works, but the general consensus too is that like that's a red flag. It's a red flag of like you're doing a lot of like credit things over the span of a year, right? And like the time frame might be like more pronounced than others, maybe within 2 months or 3. They say that if you're gonna do it within like a week of like just applying to see if you approve but not actually taking it yet, and you do it all within like a really short time frame of like a week or something, maybe it's a month, then they won't thank you, like you're good there. But yeah, if you're applying for a credit card like every month or every other month or something, right, that's more or less is gonna be a flag. So one day out the year, one credit card. You should have more than one. I think you should have more than one. You know, you don't need to have it. I think you should. All right. At least, you know, more than one, right? Apply for one that specific day out the year, and wait till that specific day the following year to apply for the next one, right?